Hello and welcome to Watering the McMahon Garden, Part 1. Mary Connolly has been chosen for this activity because she shows the characteristics of responsibility, respect, and loyalty. So I expect nothing but the best. Just kidding. My flowers aren't like my life, so it's okay if they die. When we first start, you can see we have half regular garden hose and half pocket hose. The pocket hose is kind of scrunched together like this, but when you fill it up, it stretches out and it gets really tight. So when you put the hose away, I'll show you at the very end, you're going to want to make sure that this part is still on and still shooting out water, or else this part right here will not contract. It will just stay expanded and it will be hard to put back into the bucket. And I understand that this hose is really big and doesn't fit so well into the bucket, so it's alright if it's kind of, all over the place. So first, like most hoses, our hose turns left to turn on. And I'll show you the pocket hose should soon start expanding. It takes a while, sometimes, for it to grow. In fact, I have no idea why it's not really growing right now. Oh, you can see it's slowly growing right there. Barely. So it was going to take a while, which is alright. The most important part about having a pocket hose is it is easily poked and pricked and stuff. It's not very hardy like this hose right there. So you want to make sure that it does not get pricked. Oh my gosh, we're having spasms here. I'm sorry. You want to make sure it does not get pricked by the rose bushes. So I'm going to set that in the rose bush real quick and just release some hose slack. It's kind of a real mess, but it's alright. Oh, see, now look at it go. It's expanding. So as you can see, it looks like our pocket hose is fully expanded. So the route I take to water my flowers is I direct the hose towards the rose bushes. They just need a little bit of water. I'm going to walk straight all the way this way. It kind of seems odd, but it helps the pocket hose not get stuck on the rose bushes. All the way to the road. Then I turn around, go back, and that gives me enough slack to go over to the flowers over here when we're done with the rose bushes. So I come back to the rose bushes. The rose bushes don't need a lot of water because they're a pretty hardy plant. I mean, you have them at your house and I don't think you water them. I just like to give them a little extra oomph. And they don't look that great this year, so I thought that maybe I should water them a little bit more, so they don't need a lot. I understand that the leaves aren't the part that absorbs the water, but if you water the leaves, then it can drip down to the roots. So I think it just keeps it cool. I kind of think of my plants as people. So the rose bushes don't need it all. You don't have to need a lot of water. You don't have to focus on them that much. It's just a little water. Then this right here doesn't need too much water, but this guy does need a little water, so you can water him. And a lot of times there's spider webs on him, so I like to rinse the spider webs off. And all of these plants right here, they are done blooming, but I still like to give them a little bit of water, because if not, some of the leaves start to get brown, and that's not fun, so it's not pretty. So I just give them a little bit of water, and when I walk back this way to go to the backyard, I'll give them a little bit of extra water. So you're going to make sure your pocket hose, see how it's in line with the rose bush? You want it to be ahead of the rose bush so that it doesn't hit it when you walk over to the flowers in the front. So make sure your pocket hose is all in front of the rose bush. Then you can go ahead and step over this gravel right here, or that mulch, and you can walk over to our plants over here. These guys right here don't need any water. They're dead, so they're done. If you feel so compelled, you can water them, but they're not coming back. All that needs water is all of these. And what I like to do is I like to soak all of the mulch. Make sure you don't forget about these little guys right here. They're hidden, there's another one hidden behind this plant. So make sure you get all of those ones. Since it's blooming season for these guys, they need a little bit of extra water. They're probably something that you're going to water the most, other than the blackberry bush. So you can just water these guys. And I think later I might give you directions to water some plants on the inside of the house, unless you want to take them to your house. But if you have to harvest plants from our garden, then you'll want to bring them inside our house. Actually, never mind, forget I just said that. I'll talk about that later. Okay, so once you're done watering this little section of flowers, yeah, you're going to want to actually water these a lot, so make sure they get lots of water. You're going to want to go over here to this section of them. Once again, don't forget about these little guys. They're kind of hidden. There's one back there, actually. So make sure you get all of those. Oh, sorry. And while you're watering, you can put the hose in between your legs, and you can pluck off some of the dead ones. And don't get the dead ones confused with the ones that are in bloom. If they're dead, they're going to be dried up, like this guy's dried up, and they'll, see, this one's kind of hard to take off, but still he's dead. But really, if they're really dead, you'll be able to just pull them off real easily. So you'll know, like, this one's not dead right here. This one's just about to bloom. I got confused with that at the beginning. You don't have to take off the dead ones if you don't want to, but it helps them look pretty, because then there's no dead flowers on there. And don't forget about these two guys over here. We've got this lovely plant, and then we've got our fir tree. Once again, sometimes he gets spider webs on him, so we like to take off his spider webs because he doesn't like nesting spiders. And even though there are no plants right here, I like to get the mulch wet, just so the water can kind of go over here to these plants and get those, and those plants can absorb the water. And as I go back, once I'm done with these, I come back and I water these just a little bit more, making sure they're all good, since it's really hot out today. And like I said before, when I'm walking back here, I'll just direct my hose towards them, give this tree a little bit more water, and these guys over here, if I missed them from being at the odd angle from the other side. And then jump over the mulch. And then this is kind of odd, but once again, this is because I don't want the pocket hose to touch the rose bushes. I'm going to walk all the way over to my neighbor's bush right here, and then I'm going to give it a big yank. Watch. So I gave it a big yank. It's almost all the way over into the grass, so it won't touch the rose bushes when I turn. But just to be sure, I'm going to grab it and pull it all the way onto the grass. Sorry it's so particular, but we've gone through so many pocket hoses because they get pricked onto the rose bushes. Okay, now moving on to the backyard. We're not super specific about keeping the backyard gates closed, so don't worry about too much closing them and opening them. And you're going to want to move the gate all the way this way so that your hose doesn't get tangled on it. Water this clematis just a little. He doesn't need a lot of water, but it's good to give him a little. And you're going to want to make sure over here that you don't go this way. You're going to want to go on the right of the trees, or else you'll get stuck there when you try to go water the blackberry bush. So we're going to head over here. This is my little garden. You can find tomatoes, lettuce, and green beans. And the tomatoes and the green beans are thus kept. The lettuce is kind of old and grungy and gross because it got a little bit overwhelming because there's too much of it. So this tomato plant right here is going cray-cray. He's a little bit insane. But if you see any red tomatoes, you're going to want to make sure they're red, not orange. For example, this guy, oh shoot, can you see him? This guy right here is ready to pick, but this guy's too orange down there, so you don't want to pick the orange one. Hopefully you heard that, even though the water was right next to you. So you can harvest all the red tomatoes, and we don't need them. You can take them home to your house, and you can eat them with your family at home. And then right here we have lettuce. If you want to harvest some lettuce, you can. It's best to harvest it with scissors. Tomatoes you can pluck right off. Same with green beans, but don't pluck too hard. You might have to use your nails or you don't really have nails, but hey.